Welcome to my presentation. I'm going to talk to you about the application of the Indy SciCloud model of instructional design to the development of an online class in science or technology. My name is Emily Morales. The ISCM's function is to provide a systematic means of engineering online delivery of secondary and post-secondary science curricula or technological or science training for industry. There are many excellent models for the systematic design of instruction, yet there are many factors which necessitate a design model more specific for online science and technology delivery. There are three principal reasons that these users require special consideration when designing and developing their materials. For one, there is the very difficult nature of the science content itself, termed the tyranny of content by a researcher named Kenneth Hull. If you ask any science student, in particular try physics or chemistry, about what they felt about their class, they would certainly begroan the fact that there was not only a lot of symbols to know and terms and models, there was just a lot of content. And one of the struggles that science learners have is that there is so much of this content. Well, when you then place this learner in the context of being online, the content at times seems to multiply itself. So we have to keep that in mind. This could lead to the fact that there is a higher dropout rate in online learners versus their face-to-face counterparts. So this is an issue that definitely needs to be addressed. Finally, online laboratory science is still a relatively new venture compared to online courses offered in the humanities. Today's developers of curriculum for online delivery in the sciences, these are really the pioneers, and they're kind of writing the instruction manual for tomorrow's designers. As a comprehensive model for design, having evolved from the Dick and Carey systems model approach, there are several assumptions that we take in this model. The model applies to a large system or a body of instruction, such as a complete course in a laboratory science, such as chemistry, physics, or biology. Or the course could be, you could have an employer or a supervisor for a chemical company asking you to develop instruction in chemical mixing or in safe handling practices. All instruction, as well as the laboratory activities, is provided online with an actively engaged facilitator. And finally, we are kind of assuming that students possess some degree of self-regulation. They have to have these self-regulation skills if they are going to be successful in the online course. Here is a schematic, kind of a bird's eye view of the model. After we do a market analysis or perform a needs assessment, there's a three-prong analysis that we need to perform. First of all, we would be very interested in the online learners themselves. We would like to know, what is their degree of motivation or their independence? Are they persistent in the face of difficulty? Do they have help-seeking behavior? What are their computer abilities like? And finally, what are their science, math, or technology pre-skills? These are all things that we really need to know before we start developing the instruction. And then we would be interested in the goal analysis. What is the employer asking, or the teacher, the educator? This would be very important to know, what are they requiring of these students? And once we know that, we can perform a goal analysis. Since this is online instruction, we're very interested in the feasibility of the home site. So we would be interested in, what are the user's technology resources? What is the cost of lab materials if they're taking a laboratory science class online and they have to purchase a lab kit? We would like to be sure that the lab materials are affordable, that they are available. We would also like to be sure that the labs are safe and that the learner at home can safely dispose of any chemicals. Once these three legs of the analysis are performed, we can then turn our attention towards designing the training. So from this, we would first of all establish some learning and performance objectives. These things would then inform our assessment instruments. So we're going to develop assessment instruments first, so we can be sure that the learning materials that follow are aligned to these assessment instruments. Once the assessment instruments are developed in the form of quizzes or exams, we're then going to develop an instructional strategy for online delivery. And some of the things that could be part of our instructional strategy could be laboratory exercises, assigning the students articles to read out of the primary literature. We might provide for the student written text on screen or maybe a PDF file that they could print out. We could also provide screencasts as well. How about periodic quizzes? I think it's really important that students, once they absorb a small chunk of material, that they are put in a position to have to quiz themselves on that material. And then another important component of this are practice problems. So it's vital that once they learn a concept, they then are in a position to put it to use, maybe with some simulated problems. And then once we have the course materials all developed, together with the assessment instruments, we then would perform a formative evaluation. We would maybe drop this in the lap of a few interested parties, or any stakeholders might be interested in taking a look at this. Students, it just, depending upon the nature of the materials, we could either have a couple of people give us some formative feedback, or it could be small groups. Once we receive this feedback, we would then do revisions as recommended. This model is informed by some excellent research. So please take a moment to look up these resources, and I thank you for listening to my presentation.